Hey, what's good, family? How is everyone doing? We've got some really cool stuff to cover today. I'm going to be showing you how I made this monster bass. I can't play this for you because it's something super top secret that I'm working on, and I don't want to show it to you, but let's take a look at how this bass sounds. It's pretty sick. So it still needs a little bit of work as far as when it's being implemented in the mix or whatever, but there's a couple things that we can look at that give you this really cool tone. So let's go ahead and dive in. Before I do that, try to, like and subscribe and all that. Okay, hold on. I'd really appreciate actually if you guys were to share my content. Not so much that, of course I'm trying to build my YouTube channel and all that stuff, but I really believe in what I do, and I think that I'm putting a lot of information out there that you might not be able to Google otherwise. And yeah, thanks. Okay, super simple. We have a sub. There's some white noise on here with this level and this way. We have a sine wave that has a detune of unison 4. The FM is up to this, and we're using ReCMess1, which you can find in Spectral on the wavetables here. ReCMess1 from Seamless. Shout out to that guy. He taught me a lot about bass on his YouTube channel. So there is a little bit of movement that's going on between these two, and I believe that this one is coming from, let's see. Yeah, so this is being modulated by LFO1. It's just moving up and down like that ever so slightly. From that point on, we have a filter that's on just oscillator A on its own. Also on the noise as well, and that is giving us this movement pattern here. And I've talked about this before, but you can just double click into points to get this. Notice that it's on 2 bars, so it's coming in slow. The real magic that's actually happening isn't even most of this stuff. It's actually the delay. That is going to be our key factor in what makes this bass super interesting. So if I turn these other ones off, let's just listen to how the delay sounds. That sounds awesome. So what's happening is that I have the delay set to really short, and I'm kind of giving this a little bit of automation. And as this moves up and down, I'm automating the mix. So what happens is you kind of get something that's like a pseudo comb filter. Now it's not actually comb filtering, but you are kind of moving the delay to give it a super metallic sound. So I wonder what happens even if I just use this on a sine. So I guess you get a little bit of it, but if you have some harmonics for that to cut through, then you get some really cool stuff. So yeah, the feedback's up here. This is being automated onto, let's see, on LFO2. That's just moving over the course of a bar, and then this is following the filter pattern. Pretty simple, yeah? There is some EQ movement that is notching that's following along. Then we have some distortion. And I think that I also had some compression on this. Okay, so I actually didn't use the multiband on that because there was too much high end that was being brought out of that, and I chose to ignore it. There is one more thing to talk about that is really cool. So if you look here, I am actually boosting the crap out of these low mids right here to accentuate some of the monster tones, which you've seen me do before, but whenever this plays, so what's happening is as I'm using this, it's working as a boost. So if I play this, you can see that those frequencies are being exaggerated by quite a bit. So if you sweep the low frequency here, then you're going to get some really cool low vocal movement. That's a little bit much. And that's just one of those cool tricks that you can use. So if I set this here and then we play this, you'll see how this sweeps, which is pretty neat. And then the last thing that I've done is just to give it just a little bit of stereo on the high end, which is right here. The decay is relatively short with half mix, and that just kind of makes it sound like it's in an actual space. I did do a variation here, which looks like this. Open. And that is all pretty much the same thing. I think the only difference is that the LFO pattern. Yeah, cool. And then of course there's some pitch bending here. So one thing that I've found with pitch bending is that instead of like going in and clicking on a node and then dragging this up and doing that, is just click where you want it to be. That's one of the cool things about Ableton, is you can just do this and then kind of gauge it where you want it. And it works really well when you're doing something with precise time of blocks. So you can set the beat grid to something that's relatively small and then kind of just work your way with it. The contrast on that isn't very deep, but yeah, hope that all that makes sense. But anyways, guys, yeah, I wanted to keep this video relatively short. I think that this is a super cool bass that is not categorized as a neuro bass per se, but it nevertheless is still really cool and really deep and dark. That's kind of what this is. You can see that it's called Haunted Swamp. I've done some really cool stuff with this and hope to share it with you later. So before I go, I just wanted to remind everybody that privates are half off for the month of September. So you have a week left to kind of get those in. It's not something that I'm going to do very often. I was just trying to see if I can get some more people interested and continue to grow the community. If you haven't checked out already, look at our Discord. We have some really awesome musicians in there and a lot of really great information to share. And I invite you to come and be a part of that. Just don't be a jerk. But anyways, thanks again, guys. This will be up on Patreon if you want the patch and don't feel like synthesizing it. Otherwise, that's all I got for you, and happy producing.